All right. I'm going to give people a second to load in. I have 19 on. And so, Nikki, there's a chat option on the side. So I can have people just save their questions to the end, or do you want me to allow, do you want to, what works for you?
Well, I'm gonna do a screen share with a slideshow, so I don't know if I'll be able to see the chat.
Okay.
But feel free to interrupt me if it's timely to my slide. So.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on the chat. So if there's something that I think might you can like expand on for us or clarify. So I'll keep an eye on that for you and then butt in if necessary.
Cool.
So I used to use music to like let people load in and kind of keep it fun. Except then YouTube kept telling me that I was violating copyright. Like, dang it.
Because you can't set the recording, like you can't just click record after the music.
Yeah, because it just automatically like it's recording this right now. So I'll have to have my I just have to like trim all this off. So I was doing that so that people could load in, but so. All right, who's here? We're going to go ahead and get started because I like to respect your evening. Oh, see, yep, we got some people loading in. All right, guys, welcome to the Team Phoenix call. I'm Megan Eggleston. For anybody who might be new to the team and don't know who I am, so I'm the founder of Team Phoenix, and we do these calls twice a month on first and third Tuesdays. And live power hours those opposite Tuesdays. And tonight we have an awesome guest speaker that I'm so excited for you to hear from. I'll just do a quick little housekeeping things. Just real quick, I want to know, show me in the chat window if you did the Country Heat sneak peek yesterday. If you got down and dirty last night, yesterday, and what you thought about it. So number one, chat, tell me if you did that. And number two, tell me if you have your Team Cup team. If not, get on it. Team Cup registration started yesterday. So if you're showing up on this call, I'm pretty sure you're serious enough to be in a Team Cup team. So make that happen. If you need help with finding a team, reach out to your upline. I'm sure they'd be happy to help you, find your team of 5. But guys, this is I mentioned this in a live feed just last week, but Team Cup, my first Team Cup was when I realized I could do this business. I was hitting Success Club 5 barely at that point, and just because I didn't want to let the people down that I had joined with, I hustled harder than I ever had and hit Success Club 13 for the first time, and that's when I realized I could. So I realized if I just pushed myself a little more, there was more that I was capable of, and after that, I stepped up my game and rose to the occasion and realized this was something that I could do. So Team Cup, I think, really can help you build your confidence when you're working in the context of that team-centered environment. So get on that team and reach out to your upline if you don't have. Awesome, Valerie, good for you, exciting. All right, so one last thing before I let Nikki take over. I'm gonna introduce her to you. This is my incentive to show up on the live call. Get your phone out, Lauren. Lauren has to be on it because one of my coaches, Lauren Long, guys, she's here tonight. She's homeless, so I took in the riffraff tonight. Yeah. So here's your question. You're gonna chime in on the team page. All right. I'm gonna do a drawing for anybody who. Oh, my phone, of course, wants to die. Other computers here, fortunately. So for a raffle entry into the raffle prize, you are going to answer this question. You ready? Wait for me to put it on a team page so you have something to answer. So this is going to be in the team page. This question, you're going to post under this post or comment under this post. Technology doesn't want to work for me today. What workout did you do? And if it was a rest day, then say it was a rest day, even if it was a not really scheduled rest day. So you're going to say what workout you did today. Team call, raffle, go. Okay. So share with us so I'm gonna just pick a random winner from whoever posts on that. All right, guys. So while you're doing that, I'm going to introduce to you our guest speaker tonight. We're really fortunate to have, and of course I lost your, not going well for me tonight. Not the line, I promise you. All right. So, okay, guys. So Nikki Johnson will be speaking to us tonight, and the topic is how to duplicate success to create lifers. That's what we all want. We want to build our tribe. We want to build a tribe of like-minded people. And Nikki has really demonstrated success in that area. Nikki is a 13-star diamond coach. Two-time elite, so she was elite in 2014 and 2015, and a Success Club 10 legend, meaning she's hit Success Club 10 for at least 24 months in a row, and I'm sure more than Success Club 10. I'm sure for longer than 24 months. But and then she finished in 2015 as number 19. Like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. The top 10 are really like glorified within Beachbody. Like, she was number 19. That's a big deal. And Nikki, you haven't been coaching for very long either, right? No.
October 2013.
Right. So, Nikki has a really, in 2.5, is that 2.5? What is that? How many years is that?
It'll be 3 in October, yeah. So
okay. So, in that short time, she has really created a tribe of very like-minded people that are like her, that are, performing at a high level too. So I'm excited to hear from her. I'm gonna be quiet. She's gonna share her screen a lot. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the chat window. If you have questions, feel free to put them out there. She might not see them, so I'll chime in if I think that's necessary. But thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing with us tonight. We're excited to learn from you, and the floor is yours.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. All right, I'm gonna share my screen, and wow, very matrixy. Can you see this slideshow?
Mm-hmm.
You can? Okay, cool.
It's your view of it, so it's not, it's like the
I was gonna do this.
That's fine. That works.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. All right, so how to duplicate success and create lifers. This is something that we all would like to do. I don't know if you can see my face anymore, but okay. So exercise, take out a pen and paper, and I want you to write down 10 ideal coach characteristics. So if you could pick the best coach for you, what would those 10 characteristics be? So this is a list that I've created. Driven, coachable, funny, outgoing, confident, caring, positive, consistent, entrepreneur, and humble. So yours can be totally different than mine. Just think about those 10 things that you really are looking for in your ideal coach. And we're gonna write those down, and then you're gonna just put that paper, or if you're using your computer, like that notepad, just put it away. We're gonna come back to this list. So just really be thinking about it. And this is also something that you can do over and over, but it's just, we're thinking really about that ideal coach that we would love to have in our team. Okay, the next thing that I want you guys to work on, not right now at this moment, because this is really gonna take time, but I want you to really think about who is your ideal customer / coach. And I think my best coaches come from my customers, my people in my challenge group. They just love the products. They just really understand our vibe and what we're looking for, and so they become the best coaches. So my customer and coach avatar is really the same person. I gave her a name. Her name is Tara. I found this picture on Google, and I created this as a newer coach, because when you are out there talking on social media, we need to really make sure that we're not talking to everybody. We are talking to a specific person. There's that saying that says, when you talk to everybody, you talk to nobody. So we really want to be thinking about how our ideal customer, what they're looking for. And you'll often find that when you're doing this exercise, that this person is who you were before you found Beachbody. So if you go through my customer avatar, you can see that a lot of these things are me, or what I was like before coaching. So 32 years old, I'm gonna be 34 this year, so It's not the right age, but married with a preschooler and a toddler / baby. So if I were to redo this today, I would probably update it to somebody maybe that's pregnant, since I'm pregnant and my kids are a little bit older now. But I'm really trying to target those women that that I can relate to and that can relate to me. I know what struggles they face. I was a working mom, so I know what it's like to juggle having children and working. I was a former athlete. I went to college. I went to the gym on a regular basis, but I didn't see results I wanted. So I'm looking for those type of women who are going to the gym. They're spending all their money on gym memberships, but they're just like spending time on the elliptical or on the treadmill and not really knowing what they're doing. So I can speak to that when I'm crafting my posts on Facebook. You know, I can talk about that. Put on weight from having children and never lost the initial weight from her first child, so she's frustrated with how much extra she has to lose. You see how really detailed I'm getting in here? It's so important to just not have these like high level things. You want to really, really dig deep and figure out what they need. Tired all the time, having trouble with portion sizes and picking at kids' food. She drinks wine a lot and doesn't think that's something she can give up. So you can kind of see here, like the 21 Day Fix really is my best program for my customers. Portion sizes, the wine, all that kind of stuff. So you can look through this if you want later, but I'm not going to spend more time on it. But I just really wanted to give you an idea of how in depth I really went on this exercise, and I spent a lot of time on it. And I have a couple of other examples that I can send to Megan that Brittany Leggett has one. So she doesn't have children yet, but she had one for her ideal customer. So if you don't have children, this one is obviously not relatable to you. I can send you guys some other examples if it would really help you kind of visualize the exercise. But it's so important that we are really thinking about our customer avatar when we are working. So I print this out and I have it sitting at my desk, and every time I'm posting, I'm thinking about, okay, does this speak to Tara? Does this, you know, is this something that Tara would want to see? Does this add value in her life? And so that's how I've been able really to attract a lot of people that are like me. I don't really have that many people on my team that don't have young children. If you kind of look around at my coaches, it's kind of like, it's almost like weird. Like we all are very similar, and that's because I'm attracting those people back through my posts because I know what they're looking for. Like attracts like. So these are just like some examples of posts that I've done. I really try to showcase my personality. I'd like to be silly and be fun. You know, I like cuss words. I'm not afraid to really be myself because I don't want to attract people that aren't like me. When you stop being yourself on social media, you start attracting people to your team that are not like you. And then it's going to be that much harder when you're trying to build your tribe, because you're going to butt heads with people. I mean, that's going to happen anyways, but if it's happening a lot, maybe you want to look at what your social media posts look like and what kind of people you're attracting, because you might be attracting the wrong people because you're not being yourself. So you really need to stop worrying about what other people think and just post from your heart, post with intention. Don't overthink it, because that's going to just kill you if you overthink it. Don't try to be perfect. People can't relate to perfect. They want to hear your story. They want to relate to you. And when you're perfect, that's not relatable to anybody. And speaking of story, don't be afraid to post your story over and over again. If you are adding people to your network every single day like you should be, then you are consistently bringing in new people that don't know you and don't know your story. So you should never feel like a broken record, even if you think, oh my gosh, everybody knows my story, but you would be surprised at how many people don't really know your story. So you want to make sure you're consistently posting your story, or just breadcrumbing your story with different bits and pieces, because if your story is anything like mine, it's pretty long. There's different parts to it. So just start sharing little pieces of it. And if you haven't done that exercise where you sit down and figure your story out, it's really important that you do that. And if you also are worried about what your social media is looking like, oh, okay, sorry. Then Google Calendar. Then ask your coach to do a social media audit. So you can just ask them to, can you take a brief look at my, my Facebook page and see if you think I'm posting everything okay? You should be able to go to your page and scroll like 3 times and be able to tell that you are a coach, that you have something to offer to somebody, that you like working out, or maybe you don't like it, but you at least do it. But people should be able to go to your page and just like immediately know that there's something for them from you. So it's something of value. I like to share like recipes, and then you can see this little Play-Doh. So I like to share things, these little banana apple muffins or things that I made my kids. The women in my niche are always looking for ways to help their kids eat healthy. But I have one kid who will eat whatever I give him, and I have one kid who is like the pickiest kid who only like eats yogurt and grilled cheese and fruit. So I share that too. I mean, I'm a health coach, and I'm just trying to set a good example, and I'm not trying to be perfect where my kids like eat every single meal that I eat. That's just not realistic for me. So, but my niche is grateful for that. They don't want to see that I'm this perfect mom who's makes Pinterest meals for my children and they eat every single bite. I don't even like onions, so. Okay, so let's get real. If we're talking about duplication, we need to get real within ourselves and really ask ourselves if we're doing everything that we need to be doing. So are you doing the 4 vital behaviors? Product of the product. It's so important that we are a product of the product, right? I mean, I know these are all things you know, but we are really gonna dig deep tonight and just think, am I being consistent in my workout journey, or am I taking a lot more rest days than are on my calendar? Do you have a transformation that you can share? Even if it's not, an extreme one, at least you have some kind of a difference. I mean, I did this 21-Day Fix Extreme, and I love that program because it's so short, and I have a hard time sticking to longer programs. But you can see like the difference in my pictures, and every single week I shared an update, and my niche was really following me, and I was able to really get some great customers out of my transformation. I talk about Shakeology all the time. It's never just salesy or just a picture of the bag. Like, I'm always having it in my hand strategically, talking about it. It's my prenatal vitamin now that I'm pregnant. And just really, it's my lifestyle. It's part of my life. And so that's what I share on social media. And so we need to make sure that we're also teaching our coaches the right way to share. Don't be afraid if you have a coach that you see make something, one of those really salesy posts that as new coaches sometimes we do because we don't know any better. But don't be afraid to, give some feedback to them, and not, totally make them feel crappy, but just say, hey, I like the idea you had with this post, but let's try to tweak it this way, and let's not share our link. Just kind of ways that you can teach your coaches to share. Maybe you create a Google Doc that has examples of really great posts for new coaches, like coming out posts, or things that they can do to get used to the way that we like to share on social media. We're always sharing, not selling, right? Personal development. I am called the personal development monster by my coaches because I'm so obsessed with it, because I think it is like the #1 difference between successful coaches and those that struggle. I think when you're not consistent in personal development, it is so obvious to tell who's not doing personal development. But I see it in myself when I'm not consistent with personal development. My business starts to crumble. And it's really easy to figure out why. Confidence is so key in this business, and no one is going to join you if you don't even believe in yourself. They can see it and they can feel it through your conversations and through your posts. They want a confident coach. Remember, you don't have to know everything. Google is a great tool, but you're just there really as a motivator. You're like a professional motivator. So you don't have to be this fitness expert or this nutritional expert. So don't feel like that's something that's holding you back. Making sure that you're sharing your story. That's what's going to connect you with people. Like I said before, when you're creating your customer avatar and when you're posting about yourself, you have to get vulnerable. You have to share the things that you don't want to share in order to relate to the people, because people don't put themselves out there. Everything's perfect on social media, right? They see all these people going to the beach with their kids and everything's so great and look at how in love they are. Like, they don't see the behind the scenes. So when you share those behind the scenes, people connect with you more and they relate to you more, and they will be more likely to join you. But getting vulnerable is really hard. I struggle with it still. I am a people pleaser. I've always had a really hard time of caring what other people thought about me and wanting everyone to like me. So doing personal development has really helped me. Brene Brown is a great author. She has an amazing TED Talk and so many great books that have really helped me dig deep and get vulnerable. And when I do get vulnerable, I see the difference, and it makes it easier to continue on with that vulnerability. Also, personal development helps you deal with different personalities. When we're attracting people to our tribe, and we're trying to duplicate our success, we're going to run into a lot of different personalities, because sometimes, even though we're trying to attract like, opposites attract. So if you know anything about the gems, so like I'm a very strong ruby, so sometimes I attract a lot of pearls, which is completely opposite of my gem, but it's like the opposites attract. So I really had to learn how to relate to different personalities, like what drives these different personalities and how can I motivate them? Because I learned the hard way how not to motivate them, because I can't motivate them the way I'm motivated. And so it's just really important when you're doing personal development, that's another aspect that you want to look at. It helps also with, for me, I'm a very defensive person, so I immediately like jump to the defense when I'm in like an argument with my husband, for example. But when you're chatting with people online, I feel that personal development really helps with responding to people in different ways. You kind of step back and you take a breath, and you can respond in a much better way than for me personally. Like if I didn't do PD, I would get a lot more defensive and a lot more, I think my conversations would be a little bit different. And if you aren't learning, then you are not growing. And this business is all about growing. So it's really important. Okay, inviting or connecting every single day. So this is just an example of an alarm set on my phone that just reminds me every single day to reach out to somebody and make their day. So just commenting on their pictures or sending them a nice message. We just want to make sure that we are connecting to people every single day. In this day and age, with everything that's going on, it's very rare that people feel special or that people go out of their way to make people feel special. So if you can do that, even if it's just something small on social media, you're really going to make a difference and people are going to remember you. And this is an example of just an invite where I just totally went and said, hey, like, I think you would be an amazing coach. Have you ever thought about it? So don't be afraid to do that. Now, we want to make sure that we're doing that when it makes sense. So if this was a friend, you don't want to just meet somebody and then totally cold message them like, join my team, right? We want to make sure that we're, doing this the way that feels comfortable for us and in a way that, these people are going to have a good response. So maybe I can't even remember what the response was for this, because this is an old message, but I've done it a few times to a few friends, and some join and some say no thanks, and some say maybe, down the line. So you never want to leave that. Summer Tucker said it. She said, you don't want to hold someone's future in your mouth. Like, she had a friend that she never invited to coaching. And then one day her friend finally asked her, and she just felt like she missed so much time. And she thought, gosh, I was holding her future in my mouth. And who was I to keep that from her? So just think about that when you're thinking about your close friends and people that you really want to be on your team. Recognition. So when we are, doing our recognition boards, it's really fun, and we do Success Club and Volume and new Emeralds and new Diamonds, but it's really also important, especially for your newer coaches, to recognize them for like small wins. So maybe they made a really great post on Facebook and you want to recognize them in the team page, or maybe they had their first challenge pack sale, or maybe they lost 5 pounds. Like, whatever it is, the smallest recognition when you're trying to build a tribe is so important, because that makes people feel special. And when people feel special, they stick around. They want to be a part of the family. So these are just two examples of like the recognition that we always see, but there's so many ways that you can recognize your coaches. One thing that I've done to my coaches is I figure out what their love language is. I have them take the test, and then I know what their love language is. So it's easier for me to recognize them or to make them feel good. So if words of affirmation are their love language, then, I'm really making sure that I'm saying, oh, great job, or I really like how you did this. I'm just really, feeding love into them through social media. Or if gifts are their love language, maybe I'll send like a little card or a little, something that's not, going to break the bank, obviously. But, if they deserve something, then I just like to speak their love language. Okay, so now that you have attracted your customers and your coaches, and you have people that are like you, and you're ready to duplicate, and you want them to be successful, what do you do? So first, you want to get excited for them and welcome them to the team in your team page, either your very own team page, which I really encourage you to create, or your upline's team page. And then you want to send them a welcome email. This is an example of a welcome email that I send. It just kind of goes through. I try not to overwhelm, but it's really giving them everything that they need to be successful. And then I set up a call immediately with them to find out their why. I'm digging deep into their why, and then having them set some goals using the 7-day quick start. And then we talk about a little bit about Success Club and answer any questions. But I really want to get them on a call as soon as possible, just so I know that they have everything that they need. And then I want to get them into a new coach training. And I really want to be following up with them consistently, because it's so easy to kind of get overwhelmed and send them all this stuff and then leave them hanging, especially if you're kind of not very organized. I'm not very organized, but it's really important that you're following up with them to keep them comfortable. We all know as new coaches that this is like learning a new job. I mean, there's so many things to learn, and it can be very overwhelming for certain people. But if you're there along the way with them, then they know that they can trust you, and they're going to stick around a lot longer if they know that there's somebody there like looking out for them and having their back. But I will tell you that you should not handhold. It's okay to, help them, but at the same time, this is their business, and they need to make sure that they are kind of going out there and doing things on their own and not just using you all the time. So I see, it's kind of hard to find that balance, especially when you're excited and you want to help them all the time. But really encourage them to find answers on their own through like the FAQ or the team page, and really encourage them to kind of be go-getters. Creating team culture is so important. Like I said before, you should have your own team Facebook page. Even if you only have a couple of coaches, even if nobody's talking in your team page and it's crickets every time you post, it's just really good practice, because soon enough you're going to start having this tribe of people, and it's going to be bigger than you could have ever imagined. I still can't believe like my team. I remember when my team was like one person, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But if you're consistent in all these actions, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Are you hosting weekly or bi-weekly calls, even if you only have a few coaches? So one thing that I did as a new coach, and I didn't really have an upline, so I didn't really have the team calls, but I would get on a Zoom with my coaches, and we would just take turns going through a win of the week, a struggle of the week, and a personal development takeaway of the week. So we would get on every week, and we would just go around in a circle, and we would all just talk about stuff and brainstorm, and we got really, really close. And we did that until the team got too big to where we would run out of time and we just couldn't do it anymore. And then we switched over to calls more like this, where it's like a training. But I know that is why my team has been so tight, because those coaches are still here. We all grew together, and we all just became really like a family. And so if you're not getting on those calls with your coaches, I really think that you're doing yourself a disservice. You really should start building that tribe. Are you encouraging self-sufficiency rather than hand-holding? So like I said before, it's really important to encourage our little babies to fly the nest. That's what I like to say. I had a hard time kind of leaving the nest of my upline coach. So I don't have an upline. It's kind of a long story. Anyways, I felt like I couldn't leave and create my own team because he wanted me to stay. And so I always am like telling my team, like, I expect you to create your own team. I expect you to have, you know, your own nests. Like, I want you to fly the nest. So really encourage your coaches to go out there and learn and do their own trainings and do their own challenge groups. And you know, it's only going to make them better, and it's only going to make you better. And are you leading by example? So all of the things that we talked about, you know, making sure that you're doing your vital behaviors, like, are you leading by example? So you want to make sure that, you know, you're setting the example for your team, because they are going to follow your lead.
Hey, Nikki.
Yeah.
Ariel asks, what if we don't have a team name yet? Do we still start a team page?
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to have a team name. You could just put Ariel's team page. I know Morgan Rieger, she has been a coach longer than I have, and she just came up with her team name. So, you know, it's kind of an important thing, your team name. You don't want to just create it because you have to create a Facebook group. So I would just really encourage you to just make a Facebook group with maybe your name, and then you can think of your team name down the line. So don't rush it. But yeah, I would just create one. Okay, personality. So going back to the gems and kind of, you know, learning personalities through personal development. This is a Danny Johnson thing. There's a quiz, and you can take it and you can figure out what your gem is. I have all my new coaches take it, so I know what their gems are, but I can usually tell what people are just based off conversations, and especially when I'm talking to new coaches or people who want to join this opportunity, I can usually tell in the conversation what their gem is. It's been a total game changer in my business. One example I like to use is my first summit. So I signed up in October, so summit was the following June, and I was a diamond, and I really wanted to go to the Star Diamond party, and you had to be 1 star. And so I was like, yes, I'm gonna go to that party. I'm gonna get there. And so my coach that was the closest to diamond, I started pushing her really, really hard, and she couldn't take it. She like totally blew up at me, and I just was kind of confused because I was pushing her the way I like to be pushed, and she was a pearl, and she does not like to be pushed. And so it was a huge learning moment for me, and I ended up going because my coach took me, but I didn't hit 1 star. I think I was 1 star qualifying, but the moral of the story was that I had to learn the hard way that people don't like to be motivated the way that I like to be motivated. She actually did hit diamond about a year later, so she just needed time. She just wanted, you know, to help people and to do it her way, and that's okay. And I just have to realize that everyone is different. So if you haven't studied the gems, I would really recommend it. There's also the Color Code and Personality Plus. Those are 2 other books or tools that you can use to figure out personalities. I don't know why I'm so attracted to these. They just, for me, are like just very easy. And maybe because I do like gems. Ironically, Ruby is my birthstone. I'm also a Leo, and I'm an extrovert. So I have like this trifecta of like crazy. Okay, reality checklist. So this is a great checklist that I have on my team page. I got it from a few checklists that I got from like Miguel Carrasco, and I think Colleen Curtis had one. So it's just like a really great checklist to kind of go through. If you're struggling and you're not hitting Success Club and you're just thinking that this business is not for you, like, are you doing these things? Are you doing the vital behaviors? Are you posting 3 to 5 times a day on social media? And if you are, like, are you being salesy, or are you trying to sell like other products like LaLaRue or whatever that thing is? Are you posting your link or stock images? Like, people want to see you. They want to see your face. They follow you. This is your reality show. So don't post those stock images. Post your selfies, even if you look like crap. I post them all the time. Do you have a transformation? Are you running monthly challenge groups? Are you hitting Success Club every month? Are you joining the team calls? Yay to all of you guys who are here. Are you listening to the National Wake Up Call or the recordings? You can download the podcast on your phone, and it's really easy to listen to while you fold laundry. Are you sharing stories and getting vulnerable? Have you finished a training? So if you're doing like a push to diamond, like, are you doing every every assignment? Are you, engaged in that group? Are you checking into your team page and checking in with coaches every day? Or are you just doing it every so often? I mean, you can't like not brush your teeth all week and then on the weekend just brush your teeth for an hour. Like, that doesn't work. We have to be consistent every day. Same thing with our workouts. We can't do like 2-hour workouts if we skip all our days. Are you addressing your fears and stepping outside of your comfort zone? Do you have a clear understanding of your story? Have you written out your goals and shared them? So important that we share our goals because that keeps us accountable to them. Are you tracking your business? Because what happens if you don't track and you feel stuck is you have nothing to look back on. This business grows slow. If you're not tracking it, you don't know where you need to tweak, and you don't know if you're having growth. So really just track and see, like, that way you can say, okay, I invited this many people and this is where I am this month. Maybe I need to up that number next month so I can get higher goals. So if you're not tracking that, you don't know where you need to improve. And are you digging into your why? You need to have a really strong why. It's going to keep you in this business. It's going to keep you through the hard times, because this business can be really hard. And you get into funks, and sometimes the only way to pull through your funk is just to ride the wave. And if you don't have a strong why, you're not going to ride the wave, you're going to sink. Okay, so take out your pen and paper that has those 10 ideal coach characteristics, and I want you to go down the list, and I want you to rate yourself next to each one, a 1 through 10. So a 10 being like, yes, this is me, this is exactly who I am, and then a 1 being like, I suck at this. So you can see here, like, I'm very driven. I'm coachable -1. I think I'm kind of funny. So like, these are things that I look for in a coach, and these are my ratings. So if you like rated yourself pretty low in some of these areas, then you need to really step up your game, because you are never going to attract a coach who is better than you. If you do, it's almost like winning the lottery, but you have to be the coach that you want to attract. So one thing that I want to leave you with is this quote: what we want for others doesn't work unless they want it for themselves. I just see so many coaches that hang on to people for so long and never go out and find new people because they really want it to work for those people and they believe in them so much. But you have to remember that you have these tools and you can only do so much for your coaches. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So if you're finding that, people just aren't, they're not doing the training, or they're not doing this, they're not doing that, then you need to find new people who really want this, and maybe they don't know about it yet. And you're their ticket to a different life. So that is all that I have for you guys. Let's see.
What was that? Can you meet me halfway? What was that on the left?
Oh, it's a song. It's like, can you meet me halfway? Right at the borderline. I'm not a good singer. So. I think it's a Black Eyed Peas.
Who sings it?
I think it's a Black Eyed Peas song.
Yeah,
it is.
Okay.
Okay. When I was like creating that, is my screen still sharing or no?
It's you now. Okay. I think
I was just like, I don't know. I get songs in my head. I'm weird.
That was awesome. I kind of want to come back to a couple points if you don't mind. I think we answered all the questions that came up during the call. Though I did, someone asked if I could get that checklist from you, and that quiz from you. I think I did save it at some point, but I can't remember where I saved it because I'm not organized either. So that checklist would be awesome to have, and the GEMS quiz. Guys, feel free to go ahead and pipe some questions here. I'm gonna kind of come back to some of her points that I wanted to touch on, but please feel free to ask Nikki questions. But I mean, there's just so much meat to that it was so good. I want to just pull out some things that really stood out to me. Was like, I love that you gave your avatar a name. Like, you got so specific, and I don't know that I've taken it that far. and I think that's, and you spend a lot of time, like, you know exactly who she is. That is really powerful. And like, you know where she looks like, you pull a name off of, an image off of Google, and you gave her a name, and like, you're talking about her like she's real, Tara. And so I'm ready to do that. Like, that's just awesome. So thank you for that. I think that could be really powerful when you really are specific and intentional who you're talking to, like to that extent. So thank you for that. Gosh, I don't want to take up your time. Becky says, what if you have the traits of an emerald and a pearl? Is there a more dominant one?
Yeah, usually if you take the quiz, like usually there's a dominant one. Some people have like a split. Like I'm a ruby sapphire, pretty much all ruby and all sapphire. I think I had like one question that was emerald and 0 pearl. So if you take the quiz, you can kind of figure out exactly what you are.
Yeah, I haven't done the quiz, but I'm
it's long. It's like it's kind of long. I have it on my blog, so I can send you the link.
Okay, thank you. And Melissa asked if she could share the other avatar that she mentioned from a coach she knows that doesn't have children. Yes, you said you have Brittany's avatar and you had some examples. That would be great. I think it helps some of us to have something to kind of start with. That'd be valuable. I love that you talked about, not hand holding. I think that's, we can get pretty far hand holding, and then we're like deflated when the coach doesn't perform on their own and feel like, but like you said, what others want for themselves, what's the quote? What we want for others doesn't work unless they want it for themselves. So true. And you learn it the hard way as a new coach, for sure. And you kind of have to relearn it, but that was good. Gosh, I have too many things. Does anybody else have anything to ask Nikki? Oh, something that I thought was great, because I do get this a lot. I encourage my coaches to, get a team page and to really connect with their team, even if it's just a few, because that team culture, it starts with just that few. But I loved your suggestions on what to do. I mean, how can I have a team call? I have, I love that you said, it's as simple as sharing a win and a struggle, or I call it a high-low. Sharing a high, sharing a low, and it's a takeaway. But so much conversation is started when you just share those things, and so many ideas are shared and things are worked through. With this, that's so simple, but so much can be covered and shared between people, and that's simple. So any of you guys with small teams thinking you can't have team calls, or you're nervous to have team calls because you don't have you don't feel like you have a ton of training to share, just think about the value that would be shared if you were just, even if it was like once a month at first, or opposite my team call, like the value that could be shared if you're sharing your struggles and celebrating your successes. That could be extremely valuable for growing your team culture and building your team up. Such good ideas. I love your checklist, or your ideal coach. I mean, I have lots of work to do. Becky says, how do you dig deeper when you feel like you are doing everything on your checklist but not hitting Success Club? I did great at first, but a year later it is waning, trying too hard maybe.
So I would just ask yourself how you're growing your cold market, because after a year you probably run through your warm market and you're just not talking to or reaching enough people. So you really need to maybe find a social media platform that you enjoy and just really start to build it and really start to connect with those people that are in your niche, because there's people out there and it's just you're not getting in front of enough people or talking to enough people to hit Success Club.
That's great. And a social media audit, that's a great idea. I welcome that. Any of my coaches want to ask me to take a look at their page and just give you a little audit. I do it to myself occasionally. I have to do it to my, I go back through and think, I'll realize, oh my gosh, I haven't posted about a product in a while. I haven't posted about, I haven't mentioned Shakeology in a while. You take for granted that it's something that you do every day. You take for granted that you think people know. They don't know. People don't see everything that you post. So it's really a great reminder to give yourself an audit and to ask someone else and objectively to look in. I know that I will go, weeks without talking about the programs I'm doing, because I'm like, oh, duh, I'm a beachbody coach, but I'm a beachbody coach forever. Who doesn't know that I drink this every day? It's amazing. Like, they don't know.
I know.
It took me a while to like give my challenge groups to like, you know, 'cause I just thought, don't you know it's awesome? Like, you just should just know. Like, no, they need to talk about it. Well, if anybody doesn't have, if you have any questions, put it out there. But what you shared with us, Nikki, was awesome, and I thank you so much for your time. We'd love to see that checklist, the quiz, any of those avatar examples at your leisure. I know you're super busy and you got little ones that you're dealing with in the evening, so we can be patient. But thank you so much for your time and what you share with us. I think we all have some stuff to chew on. I certainly do. Again, we appreciate you showing up for us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, guys.
All right, have a great
Bye.